listening to the Positive Professional Podcast with your host, me, Tracy Yvonne. This podcast is a weekly conversation about all things mental health, self-care, and wellness. And there'll be sprinkles of positivity, mindfulness, and guided meditations. Have you heard of Vurbl? Vurbl is an audio streaming destination for all types of audio creators like myself, and anyone that loves listening to audio. Vurbl supports audio creators through their station model and helps listeners connect to meaningful content to listen to. And a few other things that makes Vurbl special is the unique creator tools such as snippets and playlists, better discovery, streaming, it's free, and users can start monetizing right away by joining the Ambassador program or with only 1,000 station listens a month. I'm proud to say that I'm a Vurbl ambassador, a chosen thought leader in the category of mental health. And you can learn more as well as check out my podcast station and my curated mental health playlist at www.vurbl.com. That's www.vurbl.com. Welcome back to Season 4, Episode 2. Today I'm going to talk about the most powerful word, and that's no. In our society, the default answer to nearly every question is yes. Advertising is all geared towards getting us to say yes. I need that. We phrase our inquiries looking for yes. Would you like more coffee? Would you be interested in joining me for lunch or dinner? Or would you help me move next week? Or would you mind if I ask you a personal question? Even the questions of, do you love me? With such a powerful default answer ingrained in us, it can be very difficult to say anything less, often leaving us to feel trapped, guilty, or frustrated as a result. With such expected and requested default answer, no becomes one of the most powerful words that we can use. If we can manage it, with all the pressure, though overcoming this momentum for yes can be incredibly difficult sometimes. And while it's still very important to make sure that we are clear what we want to say yes to, it's equally important, if not more so, to be clear when to say no. Specifically, the issue here is to be clear about what is important to us. Yes and no are equally viable and relevant answers in the appropriate circumstances, but may yield dramatically different results. Saying yes when we really mean no can lead to resentment, frustration, confusion, and dissatisfaction, or even worse, we start to see a decline in our mental health. So if understanding and applying the right answer is so important, how do we figure it out? The most important step in figuring out which answer is right is to start off by understanding what's important to us. This can simply be done with a simple reflection process. Take a moment to slow down and sink into your body. Allow yourself to notice sensations in your body without seeking to change them. Relax and connect with your inner voice of knowledge. Now ask yourself a few simple questions about issues in your life. Notice how your body reacts. Is it energized? Does your body feel drained or depleted? One of those reactions will occur with yes and the other with no in response to the question. Typically, the response that energizes us the most is the answer that is most relevant and thus most important to us. All you need to do is notice the response and thus the answer. And I'll share more in the next segment. Today's episode is brought to you by Ivy Elite Training. Are you looking for low-cost professional development workshops, topics like emotional intelligence, diversity and inclusion, and more? Then visit www.ivyelitetraining.com. That's www www.ivyelitetraining.com. So now that we have our yes and no list of life, how do we apply it? And that seems easier said than done sometimes. The reality is that it all boils down to the simple issue of honesty. Are you ready, willing, and able to be honest first with yourself and then others? This can be the hardest step as well as the most liberating. And try out the no answer on something small at first. Maybe something as simple as, would you like more coffee? Or such similar question. Notice the contentment and the satisfaction you feel in giving the honest answer, or even just using the word. See where you can begin to apply that answer in ways that feel comfortable and empowering. Notice how your body reacts and feels more alive. Experiment with new questions and new opportunities. Once you get comfortable with these easier answers comes the hard part. How do you say no to something we already said yes to? While perhaps a bit more uncomfortable, it is still the same technique of honesty. When speaking with honesty, it's also important to speak with patience, compassion, and understanding. Remember that what we are essentially doing is changing the message that we have previously communicated. Do not allow guilt or shame to color the communication, though. Speak clearly about your decision and the realization to change the answer. With openness and honesty, we all can speak clearly from our hearts about what is truly yes and truly no. Over time, it gets easier, and we have to correct ourselves less and less. Thanks for listening and supporting this podcast. And make sure you're clicking the like and subscribe button. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Stay safe, be well, and don't forget to be the best version of you.